Alright, check it out. In this video I'll be showing you guys how to get a nice white print on a dark garment using the Discharge base and plastisol mix-in from Ryonet. So it's a pretty straightforward process, so let's get into it. Alright, so we've got all our inks here from Ryonet, so we've got the three different kind of steps to the process. So we've got the Ryonet white plastisol ink, we've then got the Discharge Activator, as well as the Discharge base. So to start off, you're just going to want to get an empty dish or a cup to mix your paint in, and you're going to want to zero your scale on that. That'll allow you to mix into it as it is a ratio for all these paints. So first up, we'll start off with the plastisol ink, and just keep in mind with this that not only do you only want to make as much as you're using, it's only going to be good for about 8 hours once you mix everything into it. So that being said, it's going to be crucial that you don't overdo it, as you'll just be ended up wasting stuff. So you want to mix up your plastisol ink first off. Alright, so I've got my white all mixed up. Now we're going to add it into the base. I've got about 75 t-shirts to go, so I'm going to do a fair amount of ink in there. Alright, so it looks like we've got 8.7 ounces of the ink in there, so now we're going to match that with the Discharge base. So we'll get a close look at the Discharge base. It's kind of an off-white color, and it's a lot more liquidy than the ink to begin with. You're just going to want to mix it up for good measure, though. So we're just going to slowly pour this in to try and match our 8.7 ounces. Alright, so we're at 1 pound and 5 ounces, which is a little bit more discharge, but that'll be just fine. And now we're just going to want to mix these two together before adding the activator. Alright, so we've got a creamy mix of the two ink and base put together. So now we're going to add our 6% of Discharge Activator. Now we're going to put in about 1.5 ounces. And the activator is actually a nice fine powder, so it'll just sprinkle in nice. Alright, so we've got our 1.5 ounces put in. Now we'll mix that on up. Alright, so now we have our big cup of ink. We're going to let this sit for 5 minutes to make sure everything dissolves in fine, and then we'll be ready to print. Alright, so we've let our ink sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, and now just going to mix it up again and get to printing. So now first off the press, it might look a little weak to you, but that's what the Discharge does best. It'll now brighten that up under the flash. So as it cures under the flash cure, it's pretty straightforward, standard 320 degrees, but you want to slow it down a little bit. You don't want it to heat up too fast, as it'll help the reactivity of the Discharge. So a minute or so under the Discharge will work best. I have mine raised up a little bit more than I traditionally would, and it'll allow for the best white in the end. Alright, check it out. After using the Discharge ink for a little while, I really like how it's turning out. You can see the whites are super vibrant in that there's really no black kind of peeking through. The opacity is there, and that is a really good characteristic for this. It allows you to not have as rough of a t-shirt. Obviously, it is still plastisol ink, so there's going to be some feel of ink on the t-shirt, as it's not straight Discharge, but it allows you not to need to build up 3 and 4 layers of the ink to get a nice solid white base. This is a pretty straightforward image, no halftones or anything, but it's got some nice little speckle effects, so you can get some small detail. I was using a 156 mesh screen. Anything between 110 and 200 was suggested. It's working great. I did like 2 coats on 2 like squeegees on it just to get a nice layer of ink, as some of the just 1 coat passes weren't as white as they could have been. So that being said, I really like this. I'm definitely going to be using this with all my black t-shirts, if not just straight Discharge, to get that kind of cream color out. But yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and be sure to head over to Ryonet, where you can get all the stuff mentioned in the video. It definitely was a nice, affordable ratio. It wasn't like I was breaking the bank to invest in some of this stuff, and it'll allow my ink to go a little bit further if I'm accurate with how much I mix together. So that being said, head over there and be sure to leave a rating on the video if you liked it. Leave me some questions down in the comment section. That's really going to do it for me. Peace.